Gold-minded records, they're not your friends.
Welcome to Horror Headquarters, a weekly horror podcast. I'm your host, Klive Kraven, with my lovely co-host,
Naya Banks.
We are here to bring you the best in all things horror. News, reviews, updates, interactive polls, discussions, interviews, and more. Stay tuned and stick around as we take on the horror genre. From the rotting graves of zombies to the blood-soaked fangs of vampires. From the claws of the werewolf to the vision of the apparition. Prepare for the slaughter orders. This is Horror Headquarters. We're just dying to talk horror. That is right. This is another episode of Horror Headquarters, and I am your host, Klive Kraven, with my lovely co-host.
It's Naya.
That's right, and this is episode 7 that is focused on the Feast Trilogy. Now, these films are off the fucking chain, and I have a ton to say about them. But before we get into all that stuff, we do want to take a moment and to get into some of our other segments, so do not go nowhere. Get your dirty toes, them nachi hoes, them cherry hoes. Yeah, I'm changing it up every week. They get them nachi hoes, them nachi hoes.
Don't do that yet.
Not gonna know not your hoe. Not your hoe. Not Jehovah's Witnesses. But yeah, get what you need. Get your snacks, your drinks, get your smokes and your drinks and, you know, whatever you gotta do.
And your cokes and
your smokes and your cokes and whatnot thinking, lookings and book learnings and things that you find when you're smart and you think a lot. And I am fucking smart.
Fucking Ricky.
Fucking grade 10. Shout outs to the Trailer Park Boys. But yeah, make sure that you stick around. We have a lot more to get into. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back after this message.
Boom.
This is Klive Kraven and
Naya Banks
reporting live from Horror Headquarters. Our news department is making a killing to bring you the latest
Bone-breaking news.
Bow, 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 bow. I don't know why I just did that, but that is cool. Not really, but we're gonna let that slide and ride because that's the type of groovy kind of guy I am.
You didn't hear anything.
You don't even care what I did when I made a noise. So we are back with another episode, or should I say a segment of the bone-breaking news. This week we have a few interesting stories that we're bringing your way. So first up to bat. Now, this one has me very excited. Straight Viagra status. This is fucking awesome. So, I'm a huge fan of, you know, seeing horror films be turned into series. Especially recently, last few years, there's been some cool ones. Hannibal from Dusk Till Dawn. You know, Ash vs. Evil Dead. Wink, wink. So, the news is Ash vs. Evil Dead is now streaming on Netflix. Woo. So, seasons 1 and 2 have been added. Make sure you catch up before season 3 arrives, which is dropping in February 2018. Ooh. Now, that's a little bit of a wait.
Yeah.
A little bit of a wait.
But technically, it's only 2 months.
2 months?
If you guys can wait.
Oh, 2018. Jeez, that's...
Yeah, that's kind of
okay, for some reason, I was thinking 2019. Something we were talking about that came out in 2019.
A good movie.
I realized it was over a year from now. Oh, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that comes out in 2019. All right, that's what I got mixed up. We're going to save that news story for down the road, though. So,
spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler alert. So I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the Evil Dead franchise. We've already done a show on the franchise, episode 4, I believe it was. And... you know, I am seriously looking forward to checking this out. I do want to see the direction they took with it. I believe, from what I've read, the events take place in modern times, like 30 years after all the events. And it's like an older Ash kicking ass. So that's fucking cool. So I'm really interested to see what they do with this, and I'm interested to see how it turns out. We got 2 full seasons to run through. I'm still getting through Stranger Things. So, yeah, we're trying to get through that before we dive into anything else. But this is on my watch list, and I will be throwing this in my queue. So, definitely happy to see that this is now on Netflix. Very good stuff indeed.
Stephen King's Pet Sematary is getting a remake. I guess the remake, but it's the release date or whatever. So April 19th of 2019.
So yeah, I'm pretty amped about this one. I grew up watching the Pet Sematary movies. Now, there was two of them from back in the day, the OG, and then there was part two. And I like both of them. I know a lot of people hated on the second one, but me personally, I liked it.
Yeah.
In fact, I would even go as far as to say maybe the second one was better than the first one. But I do like, Gage and just the killer kid concept, but...
It reminded me of like a little blonde Chucky.
A little murderous baby. that little gray outfit and that little face that he would make. But yeah, just a really, really, classic film. So to see it being remade, I'm not going to hate on it. Like I said, I'm not a hater of remakes. And I've stated this before, and I know a lot of people do shit on remakes. It doesn't matter how good it is. They will shit on it. I personally enjoy, remakes, and I'm going to give this one a chance. So I'm very excited about this. That brings us to our next story, which is very, very cool. So World War Z video game is coming in 2018. A 4-player co-op third-person shooter will arrive in 2018 for PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Boom.
So this is pretty much across all platforms. Sorry, no information for you Switch users out there. You know this shit is family friendly with the Nintendo shit. They do not get them violent games. They do not. I'm serious. You don't see none of that violent shit on there anymore. Nintendo said, fuck all your violent ass games. We got golf carts and we got some motherfucking mushrooms and shells, bitch.
We got Italian fuckboy bros.
Italian fuckboy bros. Whoa, that's hilarious. So yeah, this is interesting news though to me that they're adapting more horror movies into games. Now, this could possibly be because of Friday the 13th being turned into a game, which, may I say, is pretty fun. We did cop it recently. I just want to throw this little tidbit in there. We did cop Friday the 13th. We have been playing it. It's fun. I will say that I can see there's some things with it I already see that are a little glitchy and weird, just like the movements not being 100%. But you got to keep in mind, it's a very small studio that did this, the Gun Media guys. So major shout outs to them for even fucking doing a game like this. Just
Still
super
awesome.
fucking dope. But Friday the 13th game is amazing, and I hope it opens up the gates for more games that are from the horror genre to come out, like World War Z and many other titles. Hopefully more stuff comes from the genre, so very exciting indeed. That one was pretty cool to me to see that, the horror genre is getting touched on more from actual film titles in gaming rather than just general horror games. We've had 100 Silent Hills and Resident Evils, and they're great. Don't get me wrong, I love those games, but there's something that's so cool and original about an actual film movie. You know what I mean? A film game. A game that's based on a franchise at that. And there's not a ton of them. I'd love to see a Halloween game or a Texas Chainsaw game or, a Nightmare on Elm Street, whatever. It would be awesome to see that, but it doesn't seem like it's happening just yet. But hopefully with the release of Friday the 13th, World War Z, and other games of that nature, we do see that. So, very exciting times.
Fingers crossed.
To be a gamer in the horror industry, indeed.
Woo. The movie Inside. I've never seen it, but there's a remake coming to theaters January 12th, 2018.
Okay, so she has not been privy to Inside, guys. Now, alright, anybody that knows the movie Inside knows it is a fucking classic. It is so brutal, and it's a modern movie. I believe it's from 08 or 09. I don't think it's very old. I think it's pretty new. Maybe 07. It's definitely like late 2000s from what I remember. I think that's correct. Either way, it's a really, really dope film, and I love the concept. And to be honest, it's like my favorite from that French revolution of brutal ass horror movies that came out and smacked us in the 2000s. We had High Tension, we had what was it, Frontiers, there was Martyrs, there was Inside, There was all these movies that came that were, this very brutal style in the mid 2000s, and this one really, out of the foreign ones, this one shined the most to me and really stood out. And Inside is just a phenomenal film with an amazing twist and a great ending and just a phenomenal brutality to the film. It's honestly, when it comes to straight up just fucking like foul, brutal, fucked up shit to do to somebody, like, it's probably the most. I mean, it's so high up there for me. I guess because it's not even like torturing more so as it is quick reaction and do something really fucked up with that quick reaction. You know what I mean? It's not like somebody is just brutally torturing somebody slowly over time. It's like they're slowly like attacking you, but every time it's like somebody's getting fucked up fast and just savagely. And I don't know, I really like that. So I'm ecstatic for the Inside remake, and this is just one that's phenomenal. I gotta turn her on to the original before she sees this remake, but I'm pretty excited about this. I know they redid Martyrs as well, which I haven't seen the remake of. I only seen the original, so I'm excited to check that and this Inside remake, although we have a little bit of time to wait. But not that long, actually. Now that I look at it, if it's coming to theaters in January 12th, that's only a couple more weeks. So it's actually not that far from now. Very exciting indeed. So that about wraps up everything in our bone-breaking news this week. A lot of good stuff coming your way. So make sure you're checking your Xbox or your PS for those games coming out. Check your Netflix for that Ash and Evil Dead. And also keep your eyes peeled for the new Pet Sematary and Inside, because both of those films are going to be on fucking point, I'm sure. So we're going to keep it moving into the next segment, which you already know what it is. So don't go nowhere. Take that bathroom break if you need to, because this next segment is a long one. We will be right back in just a minute.
And now, our headquarters presents your feature presentation, Vital Organs Discussion.
Yeah, Kogan was back, and I didn't care if I had to eat every fucking villager in the town. Yeah, I'm a giant savage animal, and I'm here to kill everything. Because we're back, and we're here to have a feast. That's right, because you're in the Vital Organs Discussion, and I'm here to eat all the organs from all my enemies.
That would be like... that would be like if Macho Man, like, mated with the Feast monster, had a crossbreed, hybrid baby thing. Like a macho baby, like a macho feast baby, like a monster macho feast baby.
A macho monster.
A macho monster, right? And that's how he would
come off. He'd be very angry that you looked at his shaking genitalia.
Because you know how them feast movies are. Straight pornographic monster bestiality porn.
Oh my.
That shit is off the chain. They fucked the cat in part 2.
I was so upset. I was like, oh.
Shit got real. So, before we get any further into our discussion, obviously we are chit-chatting and making jokey jokes about the Feast trilogy. So, Feast from 2005, Feast 2 from 2008, and Feast 3 from 2009. All three directed by John Gallagher, who is the son of the legendary Clu Gallagher, who is a fucking beast of an actor, who is in one of my favorite films of all time, that is Return of the Living Dead. So, we're going to go ahead and talk about the first film, but before we do that, we do have some notes about the franchise. We are going to go ahead and dig into those first, so without further ado, here we go. The first thing that we have here is pretty dope. Originally produced at Miramax Films, the film was later taken by Bob and Harvey Weinstein, these fucking guys, to their normally formed studio, the Weinstein Company, along with Dimension Films brand after their so-called divorce from Miramax. So basically when the Weinsteins split off and started their own shit, the Weinstein Company, this is one of the films that they actually took along with them as part of that. So I think it was, kind of cool that it did get salvaged and not shelved, because there is some interesting origins to this film, and we'll talk about that. And I wasn't even aware of those origins with this film until we dived into it. So I am interested to talk about this, and I do want to get into this. So I'm going to keep it moving, because these next few facts are very fucking cool, and they tie in to this one. So...
The first film premiered at Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas, the Chicago International Film Festival, the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival, and the Savannah Film Festival on various dates through October 2005. Obviously. John Gallagher, did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Was named Best Director for Feast at Fantastic Fest 2005.
Boom.
Which is understandable, because these movies are awesome.
Yeah, so this movie, it did pretty damn well when it was unveiled. It actually had won a few different awards and did pretty well in the independent circuit, and rightfully so. It had a really good mix of comedy and horror blended in, and it was really truly a comedy horror, and it just had the perfect balance. So I could definitely see why it would cater to a lot of people's wants in a horror film, and see why Best Director was pulled off for it, because realistically, it's just a good fucking horror film. It's fun. It has everything that you wanted. It has the sex, the drugs, the rock and roll. It has the cliche things that make a horror movie great, but then it also has the brutal gore and the fucking monster sex, which is just so bizarre.
It's disturbing.
It's super disturbing, but it's so bizarre that it's good. So I definitely like that concept in there, but moving along, the Feast monsters are a species of intelligent bipedal humanoids that pursue predatory carnivores that appear in the Feast trilogy and tend to hunt in packs. They have 2 arms and 2 legs and walk upright. They have 3 fingers on each hand and about 26 long, thick teeth that they use to tear into the flesh of prey. They have humanoid genitalia. That's penises in the vagine genes. Oh. For y'all that didn't know what the genitalia was.
If you don't know what the genitalia is,
you might be a fucking idiot. and they can mate with any animal of any species and spawn a hybrid. They eat meat and are suspected to drink blood and water to survive and fuel their feastly metabolism. Fast metabolism. Fast to the feast. Feast to the fast.
That whole sex with other animal type thing, they should have kept that shit out of there. That poor cat.
That cat got fucked over big time.
And he was just like, meow.
Meow. Why is this happening to me?
So
what the
innocent.
fuck? Yeah, he was not pleased with that, and understandably so. He was molested with a giant monster dick, so that does not sound like a good night for that cat. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for the cat. What happened to the cat?
Oh,
Just
no.
really horrible. So that is, pretty descriptive rundown of the look of the Feast monster. So that was something I wanted to include for people that may not be very familiar with the small details of the creature and may want a little bit more insight to it. It's definitely nice to have that breakdown of it in detail.
Yerp. So after a period of delays, the film eventually made its way to American theaters on September 22nd, 2006. The DVD was released on October 17th, 2006.
Okay, so yeah, basically, this movie had a lot of struggles when it came out as far as reaching releases and things of that nature, and it's because of kind of how it was done as a independent film, and we'll talk more about that when we go into the factoids of specifically the first film rather than the franchise. But there was definitely some issues with the production of the film as far as getting it placed in certain places. Not so much as the production, I would say, as it is the the distribution of the film, rather, because of how it was released as an independent film. So we're going to go ahead and ride along right on into the first Feast movie from 2005, directed by John Gallagher. Now, this is the first one in the trilogy, and this is the one that we have the most information on, and probably, to be honest, my favorite one of the trilogy. But before we go into my personal thoughts of the film and info on the film itself, we are going to run through some cool facts, trivia, thoughts, information, fuck-ups, mistakes, continuity issues, cheeseburgers, hamburgers, fillets, pizza, tacos, nachos, lemons. My dad's boat won't go down because my dick can float.
What?
It's a song. It's a song.
I'm so lost.
It's a real song, I swear.
Moving on.
Moving on. So, Feast from 2005, directed by John Gallagher. So, the movie's development was part of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's Project Greenlight from 2001, which was a program on TV, a TV show that at one point there was actually talks of them playing Bozo and Hot Wheels, two of the characters in the movie. So originally Damon and Affleck were both going to be in this movie, but it didn't happen. Which I'm fine with, and I actually don't mind either one of them dudes. I know a lot of people hate on both of them, especially Affleck. I do not fucking mind either one. And Project Greenlight I'm actually a big fan of because I know what they do and I respect what they do. Basically, they give independent filmmakers the opportunity to have their project greenlit.
Yeah.
Project Greenlight. So I did not realize, though, that that was actually a film from that. I was aware of what that show did and what it was all about. I remember it vaguely from back in the day. But yeah, I did not actually know that this film was from that until we did some research on it. So, very fucking cool factoid.
So, scenes featuring a cameo by O.J. Simpson were edited out of final production. I wonder what Eddie. No.
Hey, when you stabbed a white woman. Hey, man, you stabbed a white woman. Why? Why, Thomas? Why did you put your knife into the body of the lady?
The body.
The body. Yeah, it's pretty fucked.
Yeah.
So, O.J. Simpson, he was... I can't remember what it was. He was actually featured in another movie, too. I can't remember what the fuck it was. But I remember seeing him in something else. But, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool that they were going to have O.J. in there, but they ended up taking him out, unfortunately. I think it would have made the movie a little bit more just like, what? What is this shit? Somebody come look at this. I definitely think it would have been a little bit more of a wow factor, but at the same time, I can see why they fucking ended up pulling him out, whatever. But really cool fact. So Clu Gallagher, the actor playing bartender, is the father of the film's director, John Gallagher. Also, Diane Ayala Goldner, who plays Harley Mama, is John's wife. So there's a lot of fucking family on the set here, which is very cool. Yeah, it's very cool, and I always think that's neat when they do that in a movie and they actually have cross references to their family. Just a great way to pay homage to your family and to bring people on board, and also to keep that budget low. Because obviously they're probably not paying their wife or their significant other or whoever to appear in the film with their family. Or if they are, it's a much, much more cheaper budget than to bring a big name actor in or whatever. So, very smart and cool indeed.
Yeah. So the role of hero was offered to Mark Wahlberg, but he turned it down. Then Josh Duhamel?
Duhamel?
So I apologize.
Josh Duhamel?
Demel? We'll go with that. That sounds like
Demel. Yeah, Josh Demel. Whatever.
Okay.
Josh fuck ass. Why you gotta have a fuck ass last name that we can't pronounce, you fucking son of a bitch? I'm sorry, that's such a dickhead. I can't pronounce your name, so you're a fucking piece of shit.
Anyway, he was also interested but forced to drop out for scheduling conflicts, basically.
Okay, so
Yes.
yeah. Now Wahlberg, I think, could have been cool in here because he does movies that are like, kind of pokey and satire. So he would have been great for the comedic element, I think. I don't know though for the horror elements. I haven't seen Wahlberg in a lot of horror stuff. You've seen him in some thriller stuff with the Planet of the Apes flick and what was it, Fear, and a couple other things he's been in, but he hasn't done a ton of stuff like that. The Happening, I guess. He's been in a couple horror movies, I suppose. Horror thriller movies, but this would probably have been a lot different for him. I'm not saying he's not capable of doing it, but it would have been a bit of a step out of his normal. But it could have been cool, honestly. I wouldn't mind seeing Wahlberg in this. Josh Duhamel or Damel or fucking Dahmer whatever the fuck it is. I'm not sure who that is. I might recognize the face, but the name doesn't ring a bell, so meh. Not really, sweating him dropping out because I don't really recognize the name like that. However, we have more interesting factoids. The original script for the film included a lot more action spots, but producers decided they had to be cut to fit the budget. Now, this is something that happens a lot in films, and it's not uncommon, and I totally get it and understand why they have to do it. Obviously, you only have so much money to work with, and one of the first things to go when they're cutting out things that cost money is action sequences, because they do cost a lot of money. You have to CGI things, you have to have stuntmen, you have to have, just so many different moving parts to successfully film a quality, action sequence. To make it look good, it does take a lot of work, and it's not something that can be easily done. So, understandably so, and they're, like I said, they're expensive, so they will pull out those action shots and just sequences to save budget, and that's exactly what they had to do here. And like I said, it makes total sense. Sometimes you just can't afford to put that type of money into a film. It's just not possible all the time.
At one point, Clu Gallagher, the bartender, he says, "I'm not Billy the Kid." Gallagher played Billy the Kid in The Tall Man from 1960.
Yeah, now that's really a really cool little reference, and it's funny because I do remember him. I vividly remember him saying that line. Even though we, obviously we just watched it recently, but it really stood out to me, particularly that one line of dialogue, him saying that, because he had emphasis on it, and it is kind of cool that he actually did, in fact, play that character. I thought that was very, very cool, and a great way to nod to his career within the role and in the movie itself. And I'm also curious about this movie, The Tall Man, which it makes me think of Phantasm in The Tall Man, and makes me wonder if there's any correlation there. Maybe Coscarelli got the idea for the character from that film, and that was, you know what I mean? It's very possible. It was only 20 years, not even 20 years before it, so very, very potential possibility there, and definitely interested to figure that out myself. Moving along. The film was limited released in the United States on September 22nd, 2006, and premiered in Chicago International Film Festival on April 14th, 2005. Upon its release, it received generally mixed to negative reviews from critics, while some highly praised the cast performances as well as the story's humor. It grossed only $658,000 against a production budget of $3 million. So, unfortunately, this was a bomb. This one made roughly a little over 20-30% or so. Not even that, about 20-some percent at best of its total cost. So, that's pretty bad what they ended up pulling in.
Yeah.
Very small percentage of what they spent. So, unfortunately, the film didn't do very well in that regard, but it has since kind of made like a cult classic following, and people are really, are aware of the film and familiar with it, and especially heads in the horror genre. It's really blown up for a small film. It's done quite well, I think, in the time that's elapsed. I think since its release, I don't think it had the reception initially that it kind of gets now, because it's become a cult classic. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's how it was referred to me, as being like a modern day cult classic. And when it's weird to say that because it is only a 10-year-old, 12-year-old film. But I could see why it definitely has the potential there to be a cult classic truly in the future.
Bossman refers to the twitching / sudden movement of one of the corpses as a quote-unquote death rattle. A death rattle is actually a rattling sound produced in the throat as a person dies and has nothing to do with the physical movement of a corpse.
Yeah, so this is actually something that I had told you about earlier, and we were discussing this, and I knew somebody that used to use the screen name Death Rattle, and that's actually where I got turned on to the idea of it and read about it. But that's a really interesting thing, and I noticed that fuck up in the movie when we were watching it, but I didn't say anything because I was like, wait a minute, that a death rattle is like a vocal thing. It has nothing to do with movement. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it just didn't make a lot of sense to me, but I guess it was just a slip up. I don't know if it was written into the script like that, or if it was just a fuck up, on set or whatever, but definitely an interesting fact indeed. So the payphone gets shot off the wall, and the guy goes to hang up the receiver, but obviously it falls as there's no longer a payphone there, but a hole. And the next scene, the receiver is hung up on the wall.
I noticed that. I was like, hold on. How the heck is it hanging up?
I vaguely remember you saying something about that now, and I didn't catch it in the movie. Like, I remember seeing it happen, but I didn't catch you, like, why? Because you were like, well, how's that on the wall? And I was like, what do you mean, how's it on the wall? It's fucking on the wall. Yeah. I didn't catch the fact of what was knocked down and then put back up, but obviously not shown being put back up. It just magically reappears there. So that's something you had pointed out to me that I was not privy to, and I did not catch right away. So
it was probably hanging by like a nail through one of its like phone hole. Like,
oh fuck. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting fact, and then I didn't even notice that one until later on. So yeah. Very cool.
Near the end of the film, when the monster has crashed through the wall of the bar, the monster rips off his deer skull mask / helmet to show his true face. As soon as he tears the mask / helmet, or whatever you want to call it, away, he looked carefully to the right of the screen. I mean, we obviously can't do that right now. Don't look to the right of your screen. For a split second, you can see the black outline of a person standing beside it. This is revealed in the commentary.
So, yeah, I guess this is something they discussed in the commentary of the DVD and pointed out, which I didn't check out. I do have the DVDs all on, I have all the films on DVD, from Extreme, which is the original company that released them, so not special releases or anything. I think they're all the unrated editions, but I haven't really dived into the features too much, so probably could have checked out some of the commentary to get a little bit more additional information, and would have probably noticed that, but cool to get that information sourced from somewhere else and to know that. Definitely cool indeed. Yeah. So the point in the movie where the beer guy, Judah Friedlander, is getting washed after being slimed, from about 22:10 to 22:35, the amount of maggots covering him, especially his hair, changes drastically between shots. So, basically, there's one shot where they show him with just a little bit of maggots in his hair and he's a little bit fucked up, and then just 20 seconds later, he's fucking full-blown just covered in maggots.
I figured that was because of, like, the rate of deterioration.
It could be, but it was so quick, like seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where, like, think about, like, the grandmom from the other one, and, like, it takes, like, the whole movie, typically. So to see such a big difference in seconds, I think that's what caught people's attention. Yeah. That's why it was pointed out as a continuity issue. But yeah, that about wraps up the factoids that we have here for Feast from 2005, directed by John Gallagher. However, we're going to talk a little bit about the film itself and our thoughts on the movie before we dive into the sequel, Feast 2. So let's talk about Feast for a little bit here. This one was really cool. Now, this was originally referred to me a long time ago, and I believe I picked up the trilogy at a pawn shop when I got it. And I'd heard very, very mixed things on it, but mostly positive. For the most part. There was a few people that were hating on it and saying it was whack and they didn't like the comedy in it, blah, blah, blah. But then there was a lot of people that were telling me that, man, you got to see it. It's got a great mix of horror and comedy and it's done well and the beast is fucking raw and the monster is just crazy, blah, blah, blah. So I had heard a little bit from both sides, but a lot more positive than negative. So I decided to grab the movies on a blind buy without checking them out. And I'm glad that I did because I was pleasantly surprised when I popped Feast in. it really does deliver from start to finish. I love the style of narrative that they give you with the kind of like the cue cards of like, this is what the character is and how long they last and you know what I mean, how they might die and like a fact about them,
like
and
a
then
profile.
like a profile, and like that was really cool every time they did that with one of the main characters. I did like that, and I liked it. It was fast action paced from the start of the movie. Pretty much that bar gets invaded like right off the break, and that's when shit hits the fan. And that's another thing that I like about these films in general, is the fact that they all coincide. Like 2 and 3 lock right after the first one. It's just one long continuous story. And we talked about that, about the fact that it's just, you can watch all 3 of these as one movie and it's one long story. I like that, and I think that's really fucking cool. For me personally, I think that the the craziness of the creature and the look of the monster, the type of kills that you have in the super just weirdo fun storyline, and the sexual fucking mating crazed beast just fucking just monstrous and just disgusting and weird and fucking, so many words encompass these creatures, and it's just hard to nail down what you really think about them or what they are. Like it's truly hard because they are such unique monsters in the genre. There's nothing really that stands out that's close to them that I can think of like that. They're very unique in that aspect. But I liked Feast. I'm going to give this one 2 thumbs up. I actually thought that the horror and the comedy worked very well for it. It's definitely one that doesn't take itself serious at all. It pokes fun at itself, and it's just really good. It's got great effects. It's got great monsters, awesome humor in it, fun characters, just great cameos in it. It's just a really, really fucking cool flick. I really liked Feast. I'm going to give this one 2 thumbs up. What's your thoughts on the first film?
I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up as well, by the way. But I remember first hearing about this when you showed me your Scream Factory release of Animal.
Yeah.
And you said you had a movie similar to that, and I can definitely see the similarities. Like, I haven't watched Animal yet, but, like, just from the covers, it's like, oh. Yeah,
the creatures in Animal and in Feast look crazy alike, and I haven't seen Animal yet myself. I have it, but I haven't seen it, and we actually have that one up right now, Animal vs. Feast, as part of the Pick Your Poison on the Facebook group. So make sure you check that out and get involved in that. But very cool, and yeah, I really like this one. I'm glad this is 2 thumbs up for you, because like I said, for me, this one just has, it has the perfect mix of comedy and horror, and I really dig that. So 2 big thumbs up from both of us on this one. This is one that we really enjoyed. So Feast is awesome. That is from 2005, directed by John Gallagher. So the next one here is Feast from 2008, directed by John Gallagher. Now, the notes have 2007, but I'm 99% sure it's actually 08. I think I fucked up and put a little typo there. So it should be 2008, because I remember there was a 1-year difference from Feast 2 and 3, and Part 3 is in 09. So should have been 2008. So this is the follow-up film that basically takes off right after the first one. This one is really cool. I enjoyed this one as well. But before I get into my personal thoughts on this, we do have a couple facts for this one. Not as much as some of the other films I've done in the past. We only have a few things about this one, but we are going to bring them to your attention. So first off, Diane Ayala Goldner learned how to ride a motorcycle and took training on how to fire a gun in order to play Biker Queen. So I thought that was pretty badass that she was willing to go that extra mile. Like, how many actors would learn to ride a motorcycle and fire a gun for a role? And
she did it well.
Yeah, like straight up, like that's commendable. That's not easy or fucking just something to do on a whim. I mean, that's some cool shit. So yeah, major props to Diane Goldner. That's a big one right there. Very cool fact.
So you know the cute little baby? Yeah, that was Tom Gallagher's son. He was a cute little chunky thing.
So he got 8. They ate his fucking son.
Yeah, that was
They ate
I was
the baby.
heartbroken. I felt like I was gonna cry. I was like, how could he do that?
Yeah, that shit was straight fucking savage. Baby got thrown down in the pit and snacked on. Straight fucking luncho meal.
And then later he felt bad for it.
I wanted to feed the baby to the man.
Like he asked it, he's like, "Hon, where's the baby?"
The monster man ate the baby. That guy with the fucking pole in his head. That shit was killer.
I was like, how the fuck
man.
is he still living?
Yeah.
Like...
That shit was just raw. Old pole neck. So, Martin Kleba plays both Thunder and the cat monster hybrid. So, Thunder is the little person, the short guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that dude, the actor that plays him, also played the cat monster hybrid fucking feast creature, the little one. So
Which one? Which one was Thunder? Because it was Thunder and Lightning.
it was he was the bald one.
Okay.
Not the one with the mullet. He was the bald one. So I thought that was fucking cool that they actually had him play the little feast monster. I didn't realize that. And I always thought it was maybe animatronic at first, but makes sense to have a person play it if you can. And why not somebody you already have on the set? Smart thinking and a double use there. So very cool fact indeed.
Judah Friedlander. Did I say that right?
Indeed you did.
Okay. He worked for a single day to reprise his role of beer guy from the first movie.
Yeah, so this guy came back. This is the guy that gets sprayed with the maggot juice. You know what I mean? I call it maggot juice. It's not really maggot juice. It's just juice that fucking ends up making him rot out maggots out of his skin.
It's acid, basically.
Yeah, it's like acid or blood or saliva or fucking something. Let's hope it's that. Let's hope it's nothing else. But, he shoots his cum and then the maggots came out of his keem and...
Anyway.
Any fucking way. Maggot semen. That's fucking horrible. Enjoy that thought. So, yeah. Judah Friedlander, the maggot semen master. It's so disgusting.
Jeez.
So, in some scenes where the dissolving grandma is talking, the movement of the mouth does not match with what she is saying.
I noticed it.
Yeah, I noticed this too. And I attributed it just to the makeup or whatever, and like the idea of maybe her lips were like fucking like becoming detached from her actual face, and maybe you know what I'm saying? Like I thought that was kind of part of it because she's straight up just rotting away. So I definitely see how they could have a way around that, but it's something that I did notice, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Kogan.
During the autopsy, several of the girls are covered in fluids. But when they
Covered in the fluids.
But when they exit the tent, their hair is clean and styled. Now, how the heck did you do that?
These bitches got Insta-perms on fleek. I don't even like that fucking word. Fuck the word fleek, though. I just said it just because I know the dumb young hipsters will relate to it out there. Although I really don't have... I probably shouldn't or don't or hopefully don't have some, like, 14-year-old fucking hipster out there like, yo, fucking fleek, bro. Whoa!
He walked around the house one day going, my eyebrows are on fleek. And I was just like, don't do that. Ever. Can you not be one of those trendy
Oh, it's
people?
so funny. fucking trendsetters. So, the movie starts off with a recap of the previous film. Now, this is something that also happens in the third one. They basically go back and show you a recap, but I like that, and I like I like when films do that. I do think it's a smart idea if you have a film that, especially if the continuity takes place the day after or whatever, I think it's a good idea to recap, especially for people that may not have seen the original. This way you don't have to explain backstory and things of that nature, because too many times I've seen movies that are a sequel and there's nothing explained from it, and you're watching it with somebody and they're like, well, why is this like that? Or how come this is like that?
Like, dude, stop asking questions and watch the freaking movie.
Yeah, but sometimes they don't explain it in the movie. You know what I mean? That's why I like the recaps, because sometimes they're like, well, people have already seen the first movie, so if they've seen that, they'll get this, but they always haven't.
There's Google.
There's Google. Use your fucking Google and figure out the fucking story, bro. So, that wraps up the facts that we have here for Feast 2. Not a ton, like I mentioned, but before we get into the third and final one in the franchise, we are going to talk a little bit here about our thoughts on the second film. Now, this one definitely strays off into the more comedic realm and gets away from more of the seriousness aspects that the first one had. This one definitely pushes it a little bit further, definitely has more of the sexual innuendos and arithmetics going on, shall we say, for lack of better terminology.
Wow.
But there's definitely a lot going on with this one, and you've got a really fucking cool cast in this one as well. I'm just a huge fan of the appearances that they have in here, and you know, it's so fucking cool to see Gallagher in this role, and you know, I don't know, I like seeing Clu Gallagher in there. You know, just seeing him come back, you know what I mean? Like, he's a solid fucking character in the film, and seeing him come back in the way he did after having the throat rip out was really cool. And I like the reprisal of the story right after that first one, where they show what happened to people and kind of like what they're doing, and like the sister coming back and fucking, you know what I mean? The biker sister and shit. That shit was cool. I like that. I really did enjoy that one. Like I said, the comedy in this one is a little bit more extreme. The brutality is right there on par with the first one. You don't get as much of the cue card shit, but it's still there to an extent. Just in a lighter format. You know, but in the end, this one really does deliver. I did like this one. It's probably my second favorite entry in the series. I do think that it is a solid one. I don't think it beats the first one. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a solid 1 thumb up. I do think it's good. I don't think it's great. I thought it was a fun one, an enjoyable one. It definitely has a lot of comedy elements to it, but a really cool flick. So I'm going to give 1 thumbs up to Feast 2. What's your thoughts on this one?
I'm going to give it 1 thumbs up because I still feel bad for that cat.
This cat. What the fuck happened to the kitty cat?
But, like, my first time visiting any of these, and I'm creeped out by these movies, and I don't ever want to sit down and watch these things again. Like, why so violent?
Yeah, it's not even the violence, I think, that makes him super
the
weirdo. It's the sex. Like
that too.
Like,
but
name another. Like, I can't think, honestly, I cannot think of another horror movie where a monster is straight fucking people. No. Wait a minute. They're kind of with Jack Frost. Jack Frost, there's a movie where Jack Frost, he's a fucking snowman, and he straight bangs a bitch with his carrot dick. He takes it off his nose and puts it on his dick and bangs her with his carrot cock till she dies. I'm not even playing. It's real. This shit is real. Anybody out there that hasn't seen it is right now Googling Jack Frost carrot dick. Like, no way, bro. Fucking snowman killed her with a carrot dick? Whoa! 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 Big flailing arms like one of them fucking air machine people at a fucking car place. Whoa! Fucking Surf Flaila arms. Flaila arms. But, yeah, so... Feast 2, for me, like I said, 1 thumbs up. She's giving 1 thumbs up to this one as well. We liked this one. We didn't love it. We thought it was good, not great. Definitely enjoyable, worth a watch, 100% worth a watch. I'd say own it if you enjoy the first one and you want to continue the story. This is a great follow-up. I just don't think it's as good as the first one, which, that's a fucking curse, man. It's so hard for films to live up to the first one, so it's whatever on that.
Well, I feel like if you own the first one, you should own all of them.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Yeah, I'm a completionist like that, too. Like, I've got to have all of them. I can't just have 1 or 2,
Yeah.
so... that brings us to the third and final film in this franchise, this trilogy, which is Feast 3 from 2009, also directed by John Gallagher. Had to take that shit on rewind. Directed by John Gallagher. So that's another cool little fact. All 3 of these are directed by John as well, which I do like to see that continuity there. So let's go ahead and get right into it. When Greg Swank is trying to remember the combination, as he swallows the lower part of the tube stuck through his head, moves independently from the upper part because it is made from two pieces. So if you look, you can see the fucking tubing that goes through his head, that metal pipe through his head. You can actually see the two pieces move separately, independently, because it's not really through his head, which kills the illusion that it's piercing his head.
Even that, but there's like times where it looked like the bar was shorter or the bar gotten longer, and it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I definitely noticed some fuckery going on with it myself.
Yeah.
I don't think it killed the movie, but it's definitely something that you notice and can pick up. And I did notice the point where it was like rubbery, where you could like see that it was 2 points connecting. Which, you know, like I said, I suspend belief, and you know, and I'm able to look at things in an unrational type of way, you know, in a joking manner or whatever, comedic manner, without taking things too serious. But you know, you just got to look past certain shit like that for me personally.
This film was filmed back to back with the second one.
Yeah, now, that makes sense because these came out a year apart, 2008, 2009. We also did, what was the other film we did recently that had that? What was it?
I think it was Critters.
Critters. Yeah, Critters had the two back-to-back ones. I think it was part 3 and 4 were done back-to-back like that, and they were done the same year even. Mm-hmm. And so you can tell when these movies, like when they're rapid succession like that, you can tell that they're typically filmed right spot on. That's why I give a lot of credit to the Saw movies, because they were a big budget movie done every year religiously. Every Halloween they drop. So it's really cool when films can do that. It's not easy to do, believe me. Keeping schedules like that is a fucking bitch. And that's coming from a creator straight out the mouth. Like, it is not easy to keep deadlines. I burn my own deadlines all the fucking time. So I know how hard it is to fucking stick to that and actually, you know, follow through. The entire film was shot in just a short span of 19 days.
They had to be on that set for hours.
So, yeah, I mean, this is less than 3 weeks.
Jeez.
They filmed this whole movie. You know what I mean? And it makes you wonder how much of that actual time was even spent filming. Because, I mean, obviously you need sleep and food and daily errands and things you got to do. So, you know, but how much of that time was actually even spent, you know, full legit time? They plowed through that movie as far as the filming, which I thought was absolutely astounding, especially for somebody aspiring to get into filmmaking, to look at the fact that you can do a full-length film, a feature film on a big budget that fucking fast is beyond impressive to me. I mean, it's truly amazing at the work rate that they did this, and they cranked out a dope film at that, so very cool.
I kind of see that too, because like there was mentioned before that like the cast is basically like mostly for family.
Yeah.
So like it's easy. Everybody's in one spot. You don't have to keep calling people and just like, oh hey, yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Be here, be there. Like everybody's already there, so be happy.
Yeah, it makes things so much fucking easier for sure. And like I said, I totally get it, and I see why, you know, they did do that hiring that way. And I mean, it has so many benefits, more than just saving money, but the ease of working with family and knowing the reliability there. So definitely cool indeed.
The original script took place in the future.
Yeah, now this is one that I wasn't aware of until we read into this. I would like to actually see that idea. And we talked about that once again when we talked about Critters and them doing things in the future. And, you know, sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's not. I mean, I've seen a lot of movies where they take it to the future, and especially franchises, and a lot of times it just fucking sucks. Like, I wasn't a fan when they did it with Hellraiser or Jason or Leprechaun. Like, stop taking horror into space. Like, unless it is a space horror movie, like, I can get behind Aliens, I can get behind movies like Life where they're on a space shuttle.
Yeah.
Like, if you're in space, like, and that's the setting, fine, that's cool. But I don't know, I'm just funny about how they do it.
An Earth element.
Yeah.
To space.
Yeah, it's too weird for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too fucking strange. So Joanna Putnam dropped Juan Longoria Garcia for real while running after the school bus.
Oh no.
So
whoa.
That shit is pretty intense. Now, I'm not sure if that is the motherfucking baby. Or wait a minute, that can't be the baby because Joanna. So who's the Juan Longoria Garcia character?
When was she running after a school bus?
I remember them running after the school bus when he had
whoever-
that pole in his head. Remember he was running and she was like flicked him off? I remember that scene. But did he have the baby? Was he running with the baby? See, he wasn't running with the baby. I'm thinking about the scene when he threw up the baby.
I think it was because they were running and he's already had the pole in his head and he could barely move and function as it was, and she was holding him up and running towards the school bus, and I think there was a time where he slipped. Like,
oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay. Damn. Drop that motherfucker on his face. That's some foul shit.
Klive Gallagher refused to wear a wetsuit even though the water was freezing cold.
Freezing cold. So cold in the day.
In the sewer tunnel. So, yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty crazy because he's an older dude. He's about 70, 80 years old. This motherfucker said, take your wetsuit, stick it up your ass. I'm standing out in this cold-ass sewer by myself. Just so y'all know, people, we are super tired right now. So if we sound like some groggy zombies, just so y'all know, we're keeping it 100% real. It is after midnight right now. We've been up since 4 o'clock today. We got up at 4 a.m. and went to the gym for the first time in months and crushed our fucking arms off our bodies. So we are super tired, and we're going to have Nightmare on Elm Street dreams tonight. So, just
that's even if I fall asleep.
Bear with us. Oh, I'm falling asleep. As soon as we're done recording this cast, my ass is going right into bed and going...
Night.
Night, bitch ass. So, when the slasher's stomach is about to burst, we see a shot where the lighters get turned off by the blood coming out of his bursting stomach. But in the next frame, his stomach is just starting to burst. So
I noticed that, and I thought it was just a playback. Like, you know how some horror movies do that, so I just went along with it.
replay, headshot.
Instant replay.
So, yeah, this is something that I kind of noticed too in that scene with it being a little fucky. This is just another continuity issue. We talk about these a bit on the show because they are common. You know what I mean? Like, they're super common. And I feel like there's not one movie that we've talked about that didn't have some type of continuity error. So even with somebody that works on a film that works specifically on continuity, which they do have, continuity coordinators and such, they still have issues like this where the shit just doesn't get noticed. It doesn't get picked up by people, and it ends up making its way into the film. So, this is no different than that. But that about wraps up the facts that we have here for Feast 3. Didn't have a whole lot on this one either, like we mentioned. But now that we've gone through that, we're going to talk a minute before we give our franchise wrap up. We're going to go ahead and talk about this film, last film in the trilogy, Feast 3 from 2009, directed by John Gallagher, just for a minute. Our personal thoughts on this one. So, I'll start it off. This is the wrap-up film of the trilogy, and unfortunately, probably the weakest one of the entries, I would say. But not by a large margin. I feel like they're all pretty close. I do think the first one stands substantially a little bit above the first, or above 2 and 3. But I think 2 and 3 are solid below. Like, I feel like if I was going to compare them, you could say the first one, I'm not saying it is a 100, but let's just put it at 100. I would evenly, if I'm comparing it numbers-wise, I would put, 2 and 3 at, 70-ish, 75-ish. So, they're up there, they're good, but they're not at that level of the main. You know what I mean? The first one, they're just not. And 2 out edges 3 a little bit, even in my opinion. But this one's cool because, once again, it follows on where the other one took off. It also gives you the sequences from the second one to follow it up. And it's just a really fucking grimy, sex-filled violence romp again. You know what I mean? It's the same fucking concept and idea, which I like. It works, and it fills it out. I did think that the ending was, meh. I thought it was a little bit cop-out, but whatever. In the end, I do think that Feast was a solid movie. I did enjoy it. This franchise as a whole, I really enjoyed. But this film specifically, I'm going to go ahead and give 1 thumb up to this one. I think it is worth a watch. It's definitely worth a buy if you're a fan of the first one or the second one. I wouldn't say it was a great film. I thought it was good. Definitely worth checking out. So that's my thoughts on Feast 3. What do you think?
I think the best, not the best, but the funniest part of this movie, to me, the best, funniest comedic part of this movie was when he was in the thingy, the big space, the big tin storage thing, and everybody was crowded up in there, and it was like the whole...
Oh, yeah.
That's why you don't stand in front of holes, guys.
Yeah, that was...
There's that, and then it's...
That was pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Literally fucked up.
But he ended up turning into one of them.
Yeah, that was cool.
And he was like the leader at that point.
Yeah, he was the hybrid fucking... Yeah,
one.
he was like the fucking alpha hybrid fucking creature feast beast monster.
They showed a shot of his balls. And they were like really...
His balls look like... And this is not a joke. His balls look like grapefruits in a gym sock.
Yes.
Like, that's probably the most accurate description. Like, 2 grapefruits, like, unevenly in a gym sock, like, swinging.
Think of Bad Grandpa.
Yeah.
That
on a
scene
bigger
where
scale.
he got, like, the fake balls. Yeah, that, but, like...
His balls are swinging. All on your face.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, you know, for me, that's just a 1 thumb up.
Yeah, you still have the comedy, the seriousness, but it's not as good as the first one, so that's my opinion. So 1 thumb up as well for me.
So we give this one a total of 2 thumbs between us. Enjoyable, not the greatest. Solid follow-up, but I would have liked to see more, especially in the way that they ended it. I will say that overall, this one's really original and fun and stands out, and it's definitely a popcorn flick, 100%. Definitely something to curl up and snack on and check out. I did like these movies. They are very unique in their own right, and they are definitely comedy horror, so if you're not a fan of that, stray away from these. If you dig comedy horror, these are for you, and definitely check them out. But if you're a fan of that genre, that subgenre, you probably already have checked these out. But that about wraps up our segment on these feasty beasty movies. But before we go ahead and move into the next actual segment, I do want to give a little thought on the franchise as a whole. Between all 3 of these movies, I like I said, I think the consistency is solid. I love the continuity between them. You got a lot of the same actors reprising roles over and over again. John Gallagher doing the direction behind all 3 is great. It feels really cohesive. My only big qualm in the cohesiveness of the franchise is I feel like the monsters in 1 differ from the way they look in 2 and 3.
Yeah.
They look like more like fat and like just disgusting and like more human fleshy toned in the second and third one. In the first one, they're like completely like black and more like ripped and like in shape and look fucking terrifying. So I think they try to make them more goofy and comedic in the other ones, which I get that idea.
Big belly blow.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Which I get that idea, but I kind of wish they would have stuck with the design from the original ones. But overall, this whole trilogy for me gets a thumbs up. I definitely enjoy this trilogy as a whole and would recommend it. Yeah, this one's a good one for me. What is your thoughts overall on the whole trilogy?
I gotta agree with you there. I do give it a thumbs up. I like the first one most of all, like I said.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so... And this was my first time visiting this, and I gotta say it was fun. It was really, like, shocking, because, like, my little fragile heart over here...
Your soft little fragile frail hands, velveteen silky smooth butter chest.
Butter chest, okay. Moving on.
But yeah, I think we both enjoyed this one. We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up and say that was our vital organs discussion. We have a message from our sponsors. A brand new film coming. Oh no. So, make sure you stick around. Don't go nowhere. We'll be back in just a moment.
The penguins hate her face.
An aviary virus has broken out and infected animals globally, a family of penguins managed to escape to an isolated lab in Madrid, Spain. A mad veterinarian with an agenda. This tale will chill you to the core. Born in ice, now able to survive in the heat.
Yes, it's okay, my little friends. Not only will you survive, you'll thrive.
When you count the bodies, remember, it's not just a cold-hearted killer. It's
Attack of the Spanish Penguins.
waddling its way into theaters this winter. What's new for you to view? Find out this week on Netflix Best Picks.
We are back with your Netflix best pick, and we have a real fucking dope one here for you. This is actually one of my favorite films of the last few years to come out. I really, really like this one. I'm a huge Jeffrey Combs fan, and I got to meet the guy, the man, the legend himself, as did my lovely co-host. We both got the chance to meet Mr. Combs.
He was creepy.
Yeah,
Like,
he creepy cool.
Yeah, creepy cool. He was in. Yeah.
But he's a goon. He is a genuine goon.
Yeah.
He is a genuine goon. A lot of the characters that he's played have always had a very special spot in my heart, from the Reanimator all the way to, well, not the Reanimator, but from Dr. West.
Yeah.
All the way to his recent roles. So I've been a huge fan of Combs, and this is no different. So that is the film Would You Rather from 2012, directed by David Guy Levy, whatever. Levi. I think it's Levy. But anyway, so Would You Rather from 2012. Now, I've seen a couple heads talking about this one recently and hating on it. But I like this one. I do like this movie, and it's actually, like I said, one of my favorite from the last few years. It has fucking porn star Sasha Grey in it. It has Ricky from Trailer Park Boys in it. You got Jeffrey Combs in there. Just some really fucking cool cameos and super brutal. And I'm a huge fan of these type of movies where it's very savage type of options. It's kind of Saw-esque type deal, Hostile type deal, where it's just brutal, you know, kind of torture porn. And I'm a huge fan of that genre, that subgenre of films. So this one for me was actually a real delight. I definitely enjoyed this. This one, like I said, is streaming now on Netflix, so make sure that you check it out. This one gets 2 big thumbs up from me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it had solid acting. I thought that the premise was very cool. The torture and the kills are straight brutal. And, I mean, what a fucked up premise, too. You know what I mean? All these people are basically trying to make a dream come true. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, they're trying to live and survive, but they're trying to make a... You know, like, she's there to try to help her brother. So I'm assuming everybody else is there with some type of promise of helping them out in their life some way. So these people are...
Somebody with a goal.
Yeah, these people are fighting to make a change in their life, and it just seems like, you know, pretty much everybody except the winner is going to get fucked over out of that. So it's very brutal and nail-biting, but I like this one. So Would You Rather from 2012, 2 big thumbs up from me. Highly recommend it. This one is on Netflix. Make sure that you check it out. Let us know what you think about it in the group. What was your thoughts on this one?
Well, seeing Rob Wells in something other than Trailer Park Boys was shocking. And he was a lot different. And I remembered you mentioning that Jeffrey Combs actually said that he was quiet in real life.
Yeah.
Versus to the show, and it's like, what?
Yeah, when I got my signing, I actually pulled him aside, and I was like, so how was it working with Rob, you know, on the set? And he actually, he was like, he's a very calm, quiet guy. He's like, he's not what you'd expect. He's a very calm, collected type of guy, and very nice and gentle. And that it surprised me so much, because his character, fuck off, is so much different than what you actually see. So even in the movie, it's different, but in Trailer Park Boys as well.
He's probably always calm because he smokes so much.
Burned. Lit. Straight lit. But what would you say as far as your rating on this one? Did you enjoy this one?
I'd give it 2 thumbs up. Everybody you basically get an invitation to a quote-unquote dinner party.
Yeah.
And you think you're going to a dinner party, this event, to help you in your life, and you're finding out that you have to choose between life or death, and it's like,
yeah, I mean,
is it worth it? But
yeah.
then it is, and then it's like, yeah.
The situations they put them in, I mean, although they're not all particularly life and death, most of them are slow tortures. I mean, getting stabbed somewhere or you're beaten to you're fucking passed out. I mean, you slowly die from those injuries. So they're torturous, but not instant kills. It's not like they're slashing throats.
Well,
but
it's still like...
yeah, like the drowning one though.
Yeah.
Like that one, that is an instant kill pretty much. When she got the 5 minutes, because the one chick does the 2 minutes and barely makes it.
Yeah.
And then the one gets 5 minutes, which, I mean, you know that she's not going to make it. And it's fucked up. When they kill Sasha Grey, they do it so foul. They put her in early. They don't let her take that inhale. And they fucking stick her head in. Like, man, that was so foul.
He was like, okay, well, we're going to count to 3. Ready? 1. Boom.
Yeah.
Like, but that part of the movie, my heart did like a little happy dance because she was a bitch throughout the movie, and I despised her. I'm like, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna shoot you in the
Bitch
face.
ass Mark.
Just shut up.
Dirty dick sucking whore.
But
For real?
literally. But yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool flick. So I enjoyed this one. You enjoyed this one. We both gave this one 2 thumbs up. Just highly enjoyable, very brutal, and David Guy Levy, I'm not sure, or Levy, I'm not very sure of his work. I haven't seen much else from him that I know of, but it does make me interested to check out more from his catalog. So, Would You Rather from 2012, that is our Netflix best pick of the week.
And you heard it here first.
That's right. But don't go nowhere. We have another segment coming your way in just a moment. Get yourself a snack attack. Get you that drink. Drop that dirty douche. You knew it was coming. Drop that big shitty bomb. You drop that shiitake mushroom in your fucking toilet bowl.
Just so we're clear, expect this every episode.
That's right.
It's already been...
Double barrel shit gunning. I just dropped a huge fucking bomb off. Straight shiitake casserole. We got nothing but mushrooms. Straight shiitake mushrooms. Jesus Christ. Anyway, don't go nowhere. We'll be right back after this.
Pick your poison.
Boom.
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 Boom, boom.
So, it's your Pick Your Poison. We've mentioned these videos before, I guess.
Yeah, we mentioned this in the
group?
in the Facebook
Okay.
group. We did a pick your poison with this in the group. My idea, I typically try to stray away from doubling up on ones we do in the group and ones we do on the show, but there's only so many movies out there, and this was one that I thought was really cool, and I did want to talk about these a little bit in depth and compare. So yeah, we are going to be comparing
Terror Vision from 1986, directed by Ted Nicolau. Is that
Ted Nicolau, I think.
Nicolau?
Nicolau, yeah.
Okay. And The Video Dead from 1987, directed by Robert Scott.
Okay, so these two films here
Are amazing.
yeah, these are very cool. Both of these were first-time watches for both of us very recently. And Terror Vision we had talked about previously on the show. This one, man, okay. So, Terror Vision from 86, directed by Ted Nicolau. This one is super campy fun. You basically have this alien monster creature coming to Earth and just straight eating people and being savage, and he's just like this big gelatinous fucking flesh blob. Blech. And you have this super corny fucking granddad figure or his uncle. I can't remember exactly what
It's
it
his
is. I think it's his granddad. Yeah. And you know, it's just super cool to me, like how cheesy it is and very 80s, and like it rings true to that, from the soundtrack to the effects to, you know, just even the storyline itself rings truly 80s. And that is my favorite era by far, not just for horror cinema, but probably all cinema in general. The 80s was a phenomenal decade for film. So Terror Vision is absolutely a fun romp. It's definitely a comedy type horror. I wouldn't say that it's like, you know, brutal or gruesome at all. It's it's got some really cool kills in it that are pretty savage, but not necessarily very, very brutal or, you know, excessively gory and things of that nature. So TerraVision's a good one. I enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and give TerraVision probably, I don't know. I don't want to say 2 thumbs. Although it's borderline could get 2 thumbs. I know it's considered a classic by many. I'd probably rock with 1 thumb on this one.
A thumb and like the sideways.
A thumb and a nub.
A thumb and a nub.
A thnub. A thnub. Mike Tyson saying thnub. He took my thumb. Back. Spinal. Spinal injury.
This guy here. Okay.
But, yeah, so... TerraVision is definitely a dope one, an enjoyable one, but comparing it to 1987's The Video Dead by Robert Scott, this one has a much more serious tone, and you have basically a TV that is kind of possessed that allows the dead to come through the set and stalk the living who view it and watch this TV set. Now, I gotta say...
It starts off as a movie, though, so I think it's actually a movie, but...
A movie in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, they're watching a movie on the set, what looks like a movie, but I guess it's just what's living in the set. I guess it's like on
cable, because it's one of those, like, switch the knob TVs.
Yeah, it's an old tube TV. It's an old tube style TV. Well, not even tube style. It's just the big box. You know what I mean? It's the old classic big box. It's not a flat screen. You know, obviously for the year it's 87. So, but what I liked about it is the fucking makeup in that, man. The zombies look fucking raw. In particular, the main one, the main zombie, the way they made his fucking face look and just the outfit and the effects on him just look so grimy to me, and it's really, really solid looking. I'm not sure who did the makeup on that, but I really like that look. And yeah, like you know, you see his teeth and shit, kind of like, I don't know, they're made to stand out, and like the facial features stand out. It doesn't look like a pile of mush on the face, which a lot of zombie makeup looks like that. It's very plain Jane, and this shit just looked grimy. It stood out to me.
He looked like he was hit in the face with a shovel and like reconstructed.
When I was young,
and it got infected.
When I was younger, my brother hit me in the face with a shovel.
Oh, gosh.
Straight little Nicky face. But, yeah, I like this one. I thought The Video Dead was really fucking dope. It was a true gem. I'm going to have to get my hands on a copy of this one. Same for TerraVision. I don't own either one of those. And after checking them, especially Video Dead, I definitely want to get my hands on that. So when it comes down to comparing these two, I'm going to personally have to say The Video Dead takes it for me. I thought the TerraVision flick was dope. I thought it was fun. But The Video Dead, the makeup, and, you know... even the story kind of was a little bit more pulling and intriguing to me than the TerraVision flick. Although I did like TerraVision. I'm not going to say that I didn't like it or I didn't enjoy it, because I did. I thought it was a dope flick, and I do like it. But I really like that makeup in The Video Dead, and that really held a strong spot for me. And it did its job, and it really came off well. So I'm going to go with The Video Dead from 1987, directed by Robert Scott, for my Pick Your Poison. What is your vote?
I gotta go with TerraVision. I love the little blobby monster.
The blob monster is awesome. And, you know, I do like that monster, too. It is a very cool... It's very, like, Krang. You know what I mean? From Ninja Turtles, it reminds me of the Krang, like, blobby brain-looking character. On a way bigger fucking scale. But really cool. So that is our Pick Your Poison for this week. Let us know what your pick would be in the Facebook group. We're going to keep it moving. We have another segment coming your way. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The bodies are starting to add up. Body count reviews.
Body count reviews. That is right. We are at the big, fun countdown of 7 villainous, horrific, post-2000 horror films that just drop major fucking pounds of shit all over your head. I don't know why I went so extreme with that. That was really unnecessary.
Extreme. He's extremely excessive.
Fucking extreme, bro. Mountain Dew. So that was way too much.
Radical.
Radical. Oh no, for real. So the first film we have here on Body Count Reviews this week is going to be XX or Double X or whatever you want to call it.
X.
This is from 2017, and there is 4 segments in this one. They are directed by Roxanne Benjamin, Karen Kusama, St. Vincent, and Jovanka Vukovic. Vukovic. Vukovic or Vukovic. Either
That's
one.
insane.
I'm butchering that name likely. Vucevic. It's probably Vucevic because of the pronunciation, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But okay, so this one is an anthology. You've got 4 separate stories in this one. I'm mixed on this one because the stories are cool. The fucking stories are cool. The one with the box, the one with that girl, the creepy fucking face that's kind of the screenshot from Netflix, which is where we watch this one, and a few other things about it were really cool. And I like that I believe it's all females that do these.
It's from a female's perspective.
Yeah, they're all from a female perspective, so that's really cool to me too. But what disappointed me about this, and
no freaking ending.
Yes, like we talked about this. Like there's an ending in it, but they're all abrupt. It's like you don't get it. They're left wide open basically. You don't get any, like the one with the box. There's this box the whole movie, and they're looking at it, and bad shit happens to anybody that looks in this box.
And they don't tell you what's in this box.
What's in the box?
They don't tell you. They don't ever reveal it. You see the family eating like their own mom, and they won't tell you what's in the box. Like, after looking into this box, that's when they went crazy. So whatever is in this box, and it's like, what's in the box?
Oh no! Yeah, how can you fucking have this box that you don't tell us what's in it, and then all this fucked up shit happens? It's discerning because you want to know, but I also get the cool fact, and it leaves it up to you because you can put anything in that box that you think is in there because there is no set in stone.
Yep.
So you pick kind of what's scary to you. What would make you fucking flip? You know what I mean? What would be the item that you would have to see to lose your shit?
Like that?
Yeah, I know, and it's so interesting though. Like, I wish that they did touch on that more, but unfortunately they don't. But that segment was really cool, and that was probably my favorite segment in the movie.
Same.
The one with the chick with the fucking crazy looking face, that was another dope one. This one was enjoyable in the fact that, like I said, the stories are done well and they're cool, modern fucking takes through a female perspective. It is neat in that perspective. It's unique. But those endings, man, like, I don't know. The endings kind of killed it for me and made me hate this one a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and actually say... I'll change my mind on this one, to be honest, because I'll be honest. If I would have talked about this one a couple months ago when we first saw it, I would have straight up said, fuck this movie, and thumbs downed it. Because I hated the ending so much. But now that I've marinated on it a little bit, I'll say that I understand why it's like that, and they left it open-ended, so I'm going to actually give this 1 thumb up.
Yeah, like, for me, it wasn't necessarily the endings. It was basically not explaining it. Like, it's, why did things happen for this to happen?
Yeah, the lack of conclusion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not that there isn't an ending there.
It's not satisfying.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't explain anything. It's kind of abrupt on all of them, and they're all like that. It's not just one segment. Every fucking segment ends on like a cliffhanger, so you're kind of just like, okay. Which, like I said, I get why they would do that, and I understand the logic behind it and shit. It's just, it's a hard pill to swallow when you want more, when you want to know the backstory on shit. So, that is Double X from 2017, directed by Roxanne Benjamin, Karen Kusama, St. Vincent, and Jovanka Vukovic, or Vucevic, whatever the fuck.
We apologize.
I apologize, Jovanka. I'm not trying to disrespect you, sweetheart. I just realized I'm going to get attacked now and called a fucking Weinstein for that comment. They're like, oh my god, he said sweetheart to a woman. He's a sexist. No, you didn't. Bitch ass Mark Trick Buster.
Oh, gosh.
So, yeah, that is Double X from 2017, which brings us into our next flick.
We're going to talk about Avatar. Or
that's right, Abator. I think it's pronounced Abator.
From 2016, directed by Darren Lynn Bousman?
Darren Lynn Bousman.
Bousman?
Bousman. Boosman. Darren Lynn Boosman.
Okay,
I think it's
anyway.
Bousman. I think it is Bousman because we watched the Adam Green's Scary Sleepover episode where they had him over. And shouts out to Adam Green, too. Very cool dude.
Yeah, so you basically have this movie where, like, the room you get murdered in is added to, like, a whole different house. Just the room, just the walls, just the carpet where your blood has leaked, and, like, just that. And then when they go and investigate it, it's nowhere to be found, and you have no evidence.
Yeah, there's this fucking house that is being pieced together by a guy that basically is making a house out of murder scenes, you know what I mean, crime scenes, and he's been building it for years and years, this old Jebediah character, and he basically ends up having this entire massive house landscaped and created out of fucking just murdered victims' rooms, you know what I mean? Which, it's a really cool concept, and I thought it was brilliant when I heard about it. And this is one that we had huge expectations for, if you remember, because we were really excited to see it. We saw the trailers for it. We loved the concept. We were hooked on this one from the second we saw the trailers. And it was a long time before we finally got the chance to see it. And I think it was on Netflix, actually, when we did see it. And I believe it's still on Netflix now. So if you haven't seen it, you can go there to check it out. But this one was really dope. You know, I really like this one. But I will say that I like the concept. I like the concept, I think, more so than the movie itself, because I feel like it didn't live up to what it needed to be. Did I just get attacked by a fucking bug?
It's right.
This big, no, I think a fucking...
It's that, baby.
Did he fly away?
Yeah.
Yo, I'm getting attacked while we're recording by animals. This is fucking
it's a
crazy,
stink bug,
bro.
guys.
Big ass stink bug though. Fucking, I think he flew on my back.
No, he's
Whoa!
on the wall. He flew upward. I seen it. Okay.
Fucking stank bug.
Anyway.
So yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about Abitur, of course. So Abitur, you know, this one, like I said, I like the concept of it. I just don't feel like the movie lived up to what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of disappointing because, like I said, we really, really wanted to watch this one, and we had huge hopes for this one and expectations. And like I said, I don't think it's a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. It's just, it does not live up to its hype at all.
Yeah.
And it doesn't deliver. I feel like they could have done so much more with it. And I was really looking forward to seeing the main character that plays Jebediah, because I remember him from Sons of Anarchy, and I was a big fan of that show. And it was just a letdown, man. It was really, really disappointing that it didn't live up to that hype. But like I said, it's still a solid film. It just doesn't live up to, like, if you watch the trailers and shit, it seems like it's going to be so much better.
I was going to say, it was one of those instances, like, where they make the trailer look better than, like,
the film,
the
yeah.
movie.
And what happens there a lot of times, and they intentionally do that, they take the best cuts and they take shit that doesn't even make it to the film a lot of times, and they use that to entice the audience to come check the movie out. And I get that. That's part of marketing. That's marketing 101. So I get that. I just wanted it to be a little bit better, and unfortunately we didn't get that. So it's all good. There's always the possibility that they'll do another one in the future, and maybe it'll be more to what we expected. Maybe it'll get remade down the road 20 years. Who fucking knows? You never know. With the way they do remakes now, it'll happen next fucking year.
Right.
This movie's been out 2 years. Let's fucking remake it. People are so fucking ridiculous. But Abitur was a really dope one. That brings us to our next one, which is The Midnight Meat Train. Before I get into that, though, I didn't give a thumbs up or thumbs down to Abitur. I'm going to go ahead and say 1 thumbs up, just because... Actually, you know what? No. I'm going to go neutral on this one. No thumbs up, no thumbs down. Kind of apathetic on this one. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. I don't even think it's good. I think it's okay. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's bad, and I wouldn't say it's good.
Pretty kind of ugly.
Yeah, it's all right. It's watchable, and it's worth a watch, but it definitely doesn't have replay value, and it definitely doesn't live up to its hype. So I'm just going to say fucking neutral on this one.
I don't know. I'd give it a thumbs up. Like you've mentioned, I like the concept. Like, Just imagine your murder scene gone the next day and whatnot, and you don't know where it goes until you discover this big mansion-like house and...
Where everybody's dead. No, I like the concept. That's what I'm saying. I dig the concept. I just don't dig the execution of the movie, which is disappointing because Balisman has some dope shit. I believe he was involved with the Saw films as well. So he's done some dope shit. It's just this one did not live up to what I wanted it to be, and that is unfortunate. But anyways, back into the next film. We have The Midnight Meat Train from 2008, directed by, I'm going to butcher this one, Ryuhei Kitamura?
I don't know. I couldn't put...
Kitamura?
They had like that little
Kitamura?
thingy above
It might
the
be
U.
Katamura.
They had that
Kitamura.
thing above the U, so I don't know if that makes a difference.
I'm not sure the pronunciation of that one. I'm probably butchering it, and I'm going to stop trying to butcher his name. And we're going to talk about the movie instead. So, The Midnight Meat Train, this one I believe is based off of a Clive Barker book, which is pretty fucking dope. I'm a huge Clive Barker fan, obviously. Klive Kraven, Clive Barker, you get the reference. So, this one for me was really fucking dope. I liked it. This is one where the ending also kind of throws things off the track. I love the movie all the way up until the ending. Like, I love the brutality of the character and just, you know, I think it's Vinnie Jones that plays the dude. The killer, and he's a fucking maniac, like just brutal, just fucking brutal. And the hammer, yo, that fucking hammer is sexy. That big chrome mallet,
yeah,
and it has like goes from like a triangle to, I think it goes from like a cone to a square.
I think it's like a giant meat tenderizer.
Yeah, it's what it looks like. It looks like
Yeah.
an oversized meat tenderizer mallet, and he is just slaughtering people on a train at night, midnight meat train. And storing their dead bodies on this train, and it's just really fucking brutal. I mean, the kills in it are just fucking awesome. And I think there's a few 3D sequences, or made to look like 3D sequences, that really were cool to me. I just like Vinnie Jones in this, and I thought it was super savage. Like I said, the only thing that I didn't like was the ending, because the ending, they have a twist where it's basically like demons are fucking taking over, and, you know, they're feeding these corpses. This guy's feeding corpses to demons so he can stay alive or whatever. Like, it was really weird at the end. Like they show that scene.
That part out.
Yeah, they show that scene at the end where they're all feeding in the train. Remember, they pull into the last stop, and then all the demons come out and start eating what's on the train and shit.
Yep.
And then the dude that ends up fighting off Vinnie Jones takes over as that character at the end, which I thought that was kind of cool, but I just didn't understand the whole fucking like demon thing. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was so left field. Like, it's very Clive Barker-esque. I'll say that. That's straight up Clive Barker shit right there. But I didn't like that twist in it. You know what I mean? That for me kind of just pulled me away from this movie and made me not like it as much as I would have. But if I am being honest, I do enjoy the film overall, so I'm going to go ahead and say a thumb up on this one. Definitely not 2 thumbs up, but it was solid, so I'm going to give 1 thumb up to The Midnight Meat Train. What were your thoughts on this one?
So, to me, Midnight Meat Train was basically a slaughter film all the way up to the ending, and then it turned into something. It was like, oh, yeah, by the way, there's demons involved. It's like, wait, what? So that did throw me off, but other than that, the movie was awesome. I cringed. I was like, this is why I don't ride trains.
Yeah,
You would never catch me riding a train.
there's a lot of brutality in it, and I mean, I dig having twists like that. I just feel like in this movie, they didn't need that twist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could have been dope just the way it was, with just the dude being a basic killer, a slasher. I don't think they needed to have demons in there to throw another twist in there. I think they could have did a lot of other things that were dope. I think the coolest twist to me in the movie was the dude taking over as the killer. Like, that was the cool twist to me, not the fucking demons. So I think they could have totally left and abandoned that scene at the end and still made it work. I just wasn't a huge fan of that ending, but that is The Midnight Meat Train from 2008, directed by Ryuhei Kitamura, and that one is, like I said, a thumbs up for me, thumbs up from her. We both like this one, didn't love it, thought it was solid, worth a watch. I own this one on DVD. I think it is on Netflix though, so look around for that one. It's definitely worth a watch.
That's where we watched it. Netflix.
Was it? Mm-hmm. That's strange because I have the DVD of that one. So that brings us to our next film, which is...
We're going to talk about clowns because I know you like clowns. But the movie Clown from 2014, directed by John Watts.
So yeah, this one here, I believe, is executive produced or maybe just produced by Eli Roth. Now, I'm an Eli Roth fan. I know a lot of people shit on Roth and don't like him. I mentioned that before in another episode. But I do like Roth, and Clown was pretty dope. I know that it started off originally as a short, and it's funny because you know what's really fucking funny to me? And I see this happen in a lot of horror groups. I'll see people share out the trailer of the short, right? Because that's what they made this movie from. Like the idea, like Eli Roth was like, "Oh, I want to make that movie" when he seen this fan made short. Mm-hmm. So somebody made this short. Well, people are posting the short now. Like the short now is just starting to blow up now that the movie got famous. So people are seeing the short that the movie was taken from, and I can't tell you how many people are watching it and commenting and like, "This is just a shitty version of Clown. This movie's already fucking been done. This shit looks whack." And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, you stupid fuck. You realize they're like, it's the same story. It's just a fucking bit version. No, motherfucker, it literally is the same story because it's the same movie. And if anything, Clown took the idea for its whole fucking story from that short. Mm-hmm. So without that short, even though it wasn't as well done as obviously the Clown movie, it was a fucking short by a fan. It still was dope, and it fucking generated the movie. So without that shitty short trailer, we wouldn't have had the movie. So motherfuckers need to stop hating on that shit and saying it's a rip and blah, 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 because that's not fucking accurate, and you're wrong, and you look dumb as shit when you argue it, and a real fucking hardhead knows, and I'm looking at you saying this shit like, you fucking dumb motherfucker, you look stupid. Stop it.
Hashtag rant over.
Yeah, I just... Woosah, I gotta rub my earlobes on that one. It's very irritating. You know what I mean? Especially as a hardcore horror fan, like that shit irritates the fuck out of me. So stop doing that. But yeah, Clown from 2014, directed by John Watts. This one was really cool. I like this. I like the premise of this fucking piece of demon flesh, which is what the nose is supposed to be, like demon flesh. Basically, or demon taking over this person through this possessed piece and fucking turning him into an actual clown, it attaching to his face and him becoming this maniacal, child-killing, fucking murdering creature. And people already have a huge, huge fear of clowns, so this is cool to see another film exploiting that and being well done. I do enjoy clown horror, I do. I truly do enjoy clown horror, so.
It wasn't the nose, it was the whole outfit.
Oh, you're right.
He needed an outfit for
the whole
his son's
outfit.
birthday party.
Yeah, the outfit wouldn't come off. The nose wouldn't come off either. Yeah, that's what I most vividly remember.
The wig wouldn't come off or anything. So
yeah, it became attached to him. Like everything became attached to him, and he literally was being transformed into this demon clown. It's a cool concept. The concept for the film is cool. Yeah. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was well done. This is another one that I thought was definitely good, but not great. I'm going to give 1 thumbs up to this one. I think that it is good, but just not top notch for me. So, Clown is a dope one. What is your thoughts on this one?
I thought it was creepy because here it is, like a dad doing something nice for a son, and all of a sudden, like, there's a consequence for it because of the outfit. Like the little costume thing.
The possessed outfit.
Yeah. What I was going to say is you actually just picked this up from the pawn shop.
Yeah, we did just get this one recently, and, I'm glad to add it to the collection. Like I said, we will be doing a segment, actually, in the future on clown horror, and I'm going to be bringing my buddy Gutter Monk over, Chris Mays, who is a good friend of mine, and who's been featured on a bunch of different things that I've done. If you've ever followed the games we've designed, whether it's Masters or M3 or Gold-Minded Records or any of these projects that he's involved with me on. He's been involved with a bunch of stuff that I've done, so this is no different. We're going to have him come in on the show and be a guest host for the day when we do this because he is a huge fan of clowns. Wink, wink. He fucking hates clowns. He fucking hates them. Like, fucking hates them with a capital H. So, it's going to be fun to have him come in and have his, perspective on clown horror. something that he obviously fucking hates, clowns. So it's gonna be fun to have him come in and sit and talk with us about clown horror. We don't have a date for that show yet. In fact, being honest with you guys, we're planned all the way up to episode 20. We have
So that won't be happening for a while.
Yeah, because we have concepts for what we want to do all the way up to episode 20. So it'll be after that. Granted, we're going to be filming episode 8 very soon. This is episode 7, so it's not that far down the road. But it's going to be a couple months before we get to that clown horror episode. But we will be doing that, so check for that in the future. But Clown, back to the subject at hand, before we get too far off topic. Clown was really dope. I did enjoy it. I just didn't think that it was fucking phenomenal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was definitely a good watch, and I'm glad to have it in the collection. It was worth a buy, in my opinion. I just don't think that it's like movie of the year or even top 10, but even in 2014. But I do think that it is a fucking dope one and worth checking out. So look for Clown if you haven't seen it. That one is enjoyable. That brings us to our next one. Now this one is from 2015, and that is Most Likely to Die, directed by Anthony DeBlasi. This one was pretty cool. This one is a whodunit type slasher that takes place with all these kids that kind of went to school together.
It's like a reunion.
Yeah, it's like a reunion type of deal, high school reunion, but it's out on their own terms, out in the, I think they're at like a cabin somewhere.
Yeah.
And, in a remote area. And it was a fun slasher. Like, I actually like this one. The twist isn't too crazy. It's pretty obvious, the end, who the killer's going to be and all. But I did like it. I thought it was really fun. The kills are pretty brutal in it. It's got a decent bit of gore. It's not over the top with the gore, but there is some solid amounts in there. Really good kills. Acting can be a little bit shoddy. I will say it doesn't have the best acting in the world. But it is worth a watch. This is another one actually that we checked out on Netflix. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one, but I did like it. I'm going to go ahead and give 1 thumbs up to this one. It is worth a watch. Definitely not worth a buy, I wouldn't say. I'll probably get it if I see it just because I'm a collector, but I wouldn't say for the average fan, like, this isn't worth buying. But if you are a collector, this is probably one you will want to pick up, especially if you're a slasher fan. I will say that. You will want to get this if you are a slasher fan like I am. So Most Likely to Die for me, this one gets a thumbs up. What were your thoughts on this one?
I'll give it a thumbs up as well. I do like the concept of, like, how he, like, does the kills, kind of. Like, how he keeps track of them. How some movies...
Yeah.
He basically uses a yearbook, because they're all on, like, one page, or I guess he takes all their yearbook photo, headshots, and uses that and puts them up on the wall and, like, X's them out as he goes, and I thought that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool, and that was something I enjoyed about it, and that ties it into the whole theme of the movie itself, Most Likely to Die, which is a whole pun and theme on the whole thing, like most likely to succeed, most likely to be class clown, you know what I mean? So it's definitely tied into the whole school theme, and I dig that a whole lot. I did like that one.
And I do think that, if I recall, that all the, like, they were friends, but they were also nominated for each of those categories.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think the way that they were killed, related to what they were nominated for, correct?
No.
Wasn't there some tie there?
Because the seniors did a prank and added the dude who turned out to be the killer as most likely to die.
Oh,
it was a prank.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
they
right.
They did like a little fucked up
that
bullying
is right.
thing.
Yeah.
So.
You
and then
are
he
right.
was doing revenge. That's basically how that came to be.
If anybody out there is questioning, like, what, do you not fucking remember the movie you just watched? Please keep in mind
we watched this actually.
It was a couple
months.
It was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But we keep a list of things we haven't talked about and ones that are semi-recent for us. Typically, the things that we watch all in the same week. So keep in mind, we're watching like 2 to 4 movies every night.
Yeah.
Like literally, like we're going through so many fucking films to keep up to keep doing the show every week. So sometimes it's hard to remember all the little details about every individual film.
Up.
Yeah, mixing movies up. Like it'll happen once in a while on the show. So please bear with me and excuse that bullshit because
I do it too. So.
It happens once in a while. I apologize. Don't kill the messenger. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get my shit out without fucking it up. Just leave me alone.
Stop judging.
Don't judge me, Thomas. So that brings us to our next film. What was your rating on this one?
I gave it a thumbs up.
You gave it a thumbs up? Okay, so we both gave a thumbs up to Most Likely to Die. Check that one out if you get a chance. I believe it is still streaming on Netflix. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into this next one.
We're going to move along to The Windmill from 2016, directed by Nick Jongaris. Jongaris? Jongaris?
John Juris?
I'm sorry. It's Jongerius.
Yeah, that's a really fucking tough name to pronounce. Nick Jongaris. That might be it. Nick Jongaris. That sounds kind of legit. Nick Jongaris. But The Windmill was pretty dope. This was I don't know. I guess this one
kind of reminded me of Wrong Turn. Like it was based off like a hillbilly.
Kind of. Like, it definitely has a hillbilly vibe to it, but it's also got, like, the paranormal aspects because the windmill appearing and disappearing. Remember? It's kind of got the paranormal aspects to it as well. It's almost like a paranormal slasher.
It's like a supernatural slasher.
Yeah, it's like a supernatural slasher kind of. You know what I mean? Like, it definitely fits that kind of feel. I actually like this one. I don't think it was amazing. I do think it was solid. I thought the kills in it were pretty good. I enjoyed this one. I did like the backstory and the reveal and everything. The ending was pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and say this one is a thumbs up for me. It is worth checking out. This is another one that we also watched on Netflix. I believe this also is still streaming on Netflix. So if you haven't had the chance to check this one out, it is worth a watch. Like I said, one thumb up for me. The storyline's pretty cool. I'm not going to get too much into it, but obviously it revolves around a windmill. These people are out taking this little tour, this trip. They end up getting stranded and end up going to this windmill that they see, and all hell breaks loose and ensues. And I'll let you go from there with feeling how it is. You can watch it yourself to kind of dictate, but I did like The Windmill. Thumbs up for me. What are your thoughts on this one?
I give it a thumbs up. Like I said, I like the fact that it reminded me of Wrong Turn, kind of.
Yeah, it has the hillbilly aspect, kind of, and I don't even think it's like directly. I think it's mainly because of the setting, being desolate in like a farmhouse windmill type area, and then also the killer using the sickle scythe thing, and just like the look of them, very old schoolish, and it does have that kind of vibe. Like I could feel that, maybe not as rednecky, but it has that kind of vibe that Wrong Turn did, definitely, and I could see that for sure. What was your thought? Like, did you like this one? Thumbs up though? Thumbs down?
Thumbs up. I did like the windmill though. I've never I don't think I've seen a lot of movies that involved windmills that look like the ones from back then, like the wooden
a classic. Well, honestly, a windmill in general, even modern windmills, like you don't see them used in horror movies as settings, especially as a whole movie, really, because most of the movie, well, I won't say most of the movie, a lot of it takes place before they get there, but a big chunk of it does take place in the windmill or at the windmill, so I do think that is cool that they had that included. I did like this one, like I said, so we both give this one a thumbs up. It is worth checking out. It is on Netflix still, I believe, so check out The Windmill from 2016, directed by Nick Jongaris, or Jongerius.
I just noticed
Nick Jongaris.
I just noticed that all of these body count review movies are ones that we've watched on Netflix.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, they are. Pretty much every one of these we did see on Netflix.
We got 8 Netflix best picks for you.
That's right. It pretty much is. All these body count reviews are pretty much on Netflix, which brings us to our last one, which is going to be The Babadook from 2014, directed by Jennifer Kent. Now,
fuckface kid.
Yes.
Getting on my nerves.
Let's talk about the fucking kid in The Babadook. Yo. Okay, I love The Babadook, and let me first off give my rating right out the gate. This is 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
The movie is brilliant. It is. It really is good. But that fucking little boy, yo. But see, here's the thing. I know, and I think anybody that watches the movie knows, he is that character you're supposed to hate.
Yeah.
Like, it's intentional. That's not like, oh, we're gonna have him be a fucking dick and maybe he'll be semi-likable. Like, they intentionally set him out to be a hated fucking character. And that's why I can excuse it and I can look beyond it, because he's such an annoying little prick in the movie. But it's kind of the manifestation of the madness of his mom and this character and everything going on, the culmination. So it has some bearing and sense to it, but The Babadook is dope. I do like this one a lot. It is also on Netflix, or was on Netflix. I think it still is. All these I think are still on there because we watched them all semi-recent, but I'm not on Netflix enough every day to know if they're still streaming, but I think it is on there. So definitely check that one out. If you're a fan of things like The Conjuring and things like, what's the other one I'm thinking of? Insidious, things that have that kind of vibe, not necessarily like straight ghosts, but those types of like real serious, real life-like kind of horror situations, The Babadook is right up your alley and definitely for you. I love the look of the character. I love the book. I love everything about it. I would love to get my hands on. I know there's a Babadook book DVD set that it looks like the book, I believe, but opens up and has the DVD in it and all. So that's really cool. I'd love to get my hands on that. Speaking of books and horror books, I remember, this is off topic, but this is really cool. I remember back in the days, a couple years ago, ABCs of Death, when it came out, they released books for the ABCs of Death. And it came, like, there was a limited set that came out with it, with the DVD or the Blu-ray in that book, and I wish I would have got one. I wanted one. It was in my fucking cart at one time on eBay, and I never fucking ordered it. And, yeah, I hate myself for that. I wish I would have got that, but that was a really cool, while we were talking about the Babadook, and the book, when we were talking about horror books, it brought that up in my mind. I wanted to speak on that real quick, but back to the topic at hand. I gotta stop getting sidetracked. The Babadook from 2014, directed by Jennifer Kent. This one is dope. It is definitely beyond worth a watch. It's worth a buy. It is one that I actually need to get in my collection that I do not have, but I do like it a lot. It is a dope one. It's a modern one. In fact, all the movies also, in addition to being on Netflix, are all modern. All the ones this week, we have 2017, 2016, 2008, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2014. So all of these are from the last 10 years or last 8 years, really. So all these are pretty new films. And that wasn't done intentionally. That just happened to happen this time, which is cool because typically anybody that follows the show knows that we do a lot of stuff where we talk about movies from the 80s and 70s and 90s and, even the early 2000s. So to have all these that are more recent is kind of a change of pace for us and a little different. And I'm glad we did it this time like that. To give you guys a little bit of versatility in the show and show you a little bit more modern side of some of the films we've checked out. So that about wraps up everything that we have for our reviews on this one. Oh, before we go, let me get your input. Before we go, I don't want to cut you off before you give your input on this one. What is your thoughts on the Babadook and your rating?
I've already given it 2 thumbs up because I like the fact that it's based around a children's book. Like, I believe it was a children's book that he was reading. Yeah,
it had that Cat in the Hat style with the rhyming words. If you read Dr. it, or was it you read it or hear it, say it in a book, something about a look, the Babadook. I remember vaguely some of the lines in it. And I do remember it having like a little rhyme scheme to it that was very Cat in the Hat-esque, very Dr. Seuss kind of style. Yeah. But I do like that, and I thought that was dope. And I'm glad to see that you gave this one 2 thumbs up, despite the dickhead little kid. Because we both hated this fucking kid. Like, me and her, seriously, are like, fuck this kid, tie him up, put him in a trunk, and fucking drive the car off a cliff.
What made me, excuse the kid is because I have 2 little brothers who are exactly the same way. And it's like, I've lived with them all my life, so that really doesn't bother me. Plus, I know there's people out here in the world who has children like that. So it's like, it's a real life situation. I excuse it because I can't punch any other people's kids. So
in the face or in the throat areas. But
I'd go to jail.
You go into jail.
Yeah.
So that about wraps up our thoughts on the Babadook, and that also wraps up our body count reviews for this week. Obviously, next week we'll be bringing you hopefully another 7 fresh films. So make sure you tune in next week to see the body count reviews. Don't go nowhere. We still have more to the show. We'll be coming back in just a moment with our next segments. We shall return.
Boom.
Wake up, kiddies. There's no time to sleep.
It's time for the poll of the week.
Anyway, these are the poll results for episode 6. I don't know. I wanted to be weird. Just ignore me. What is the worst way to die in a horror movie? We had 6 votes for burning, 4 votes for drowning, 4 for decapitation, 4 for amputation. Yeah. this rhyming nonsense. 2 for impalement and 1 for strangulation.
So, the burning is basically considered to be the worst one as far as the ones that were taken into account for voting. What was your personal vote in this poll?
I voted for decapitation because I heard, like, I know, like, your brain, like, lasts a couple more seconds after it's cut off from your body, so you're basically looking at your body for, like, 2 seconds.
Yeah, that is pretty fucked to think about that. That is pretty raw. My personal vote in this one was amputation, and the reasoning for that, bleeding out, and, like, any movie where I see them cutting limbs off, like, especially if it's, like, smaller limbs, like, if you're cutting off fingers and toes and then fucking hands and feet, like, it can be really brutal.
Yeah.
Stephen Biro's film, Marcus Koch's Stephen Biro's film, American Guinea Pig, Bouquet of Blood and Guts, or Blood and Gore, I believe it is. Or is it... I think that's correct. I can't remember the exact title. It's a really long title, and my memory is not the greatest. I think it's Bouquet of Guts and Gore, maybe. Yeah, Bouquet of Guts and Gore, I believe it is. But it's super fucking grimy and really nasty amputation, and that one honestly stands out to me as one of the most repulsive amputation scenes I've seen in any film because of the repeated different types of amputation in it. And the fact of being, on LSD and hallucinating while that is being done to you is a very, very brutal fucking take on things. She hasn't seen the American Guinea Pig movies yet. I own them, and I haven't even seen Bloodshot yet. I told her to watch the movies. You seriously need to be in, like, a specific mind frame because they're so fucking brutal. They're nothing like a regular horror film. Like, it's literally like a 90-minute snuff film is basically what it is, which is fine. Like, I dig that type of shit. That's why I own it. And bought it. But, it's something you got to be in the right mind for. Like, Requiem for a Dream is another movie like that. Like, certain shit you watch, you got to be in the right mind frame for. So, that one was the same thing. But amputation was my vote on that one. She voted for decapitation. The burning was actually the number one with 6 votes. And the lowest votes was strangulation with just 1 vote. All those are shitty ways to go out. Burning, drowning, decapitation, amputation, impalement, and strangulation. Yeah. All those are raw, grimy ways to die. I don't think anybody wants to go out in any of those fucking ways. But the rawest one to me was probably amputation. So that is the results from last week's poll, which was episode 6, our Hostile Trilogy episode, which brings us to this week. We got a brand new poll, new question for you guys. So lay it on them, Mrs. Banks. Do it.
That was, let's not do that ever.
Do it, Miss Banks.
What is your favorite modern horror TV show? American Horror Story, The Walking Dead, Stranger Things, Bates Motel, Dexter, Slasher, From Dusk Till Dawn, Ash vs. Evil Dead, Scream the TV series, and Hannibal. Those are options.
Yeah, there's a lot of dope shows in here. I've seen most of the first season of AHS. I really liked it. I haven't gotten to Walking Dead. I tried to watch it. I watched 1 episode and fucking fell asleep on the first episode. And I tried it twice and fucking couldn't even get through the first episode twice. I'm gonna give it another go down the road, but I think I'm gonna wait until that shit either stops running or they fucking take a hiatus because there's so much shit I'm far behind on. I'm just gonna wait because I'm not patient and I don't feel like waiting for them to do shit when it does come out. So whatever. Stranger Things, we watched the shit out of. We've seen the whole first season. We're watching the second season. We're about halfway through, 2/3 of the way through the second season now. Really love that one. Bates Motel, I haven't checked out, but I know you've seen Bates Motel.
Oh, if you haven't seen it, that's a good watch. You need to get that season on DVD or Blu-ray. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I just haven't had the opportunity to check it out yet. But I did hear good things about that, so I do want to check it. Dexter, which is one I'm very familiar with. I've seen the whole thing, and I own most of the seasons on DVD. And she hasn't seen that one. So that's one that I really want to turn her on to. Dexter is a really good one. I love the character. I love the whole story. I think it's brilliantly written. I love the whole concept behind it. So Dexter's one of my favorite TV shows for sure. The next one is Slasher, which there's 2 seasons of. I've only seen the full first season. She hasn't seen any of it. That's what I want to turn her on to. Slasher is really cool. From what I hear, the second one is totally different. And Slasher apparently is going to be done in AHS style, where every season is a whole new story. But I think they keep the same cast, but all different actors, which is similar to what AHS does. So we'll see how that turns out.
Is that the one on Netflix?
That is on Netflix right now. Yes, it is. And I believe the second season just went up as well, which I haven't checked out yet. The next one, From Dusk Till Dawn, I have not seen any of this series, but I've heard good things about it. I do want to check this out. I believe this is also on Netflix. I love the movies From Dusk Till Dawn, so I can imagine that these would be decent. Looking forward to checking them out. Ash vs. Evil Dead. This is one that just hit Netflix. We talked about that actually earlier in the show. That was part of our Bone Breaking News. I'm extremely excited about that because I've been wanting to check these out. I think it's a good opportunity for us to finally dig our teeth into those. Probably after we finish up Stranger Things, we'll start watching the Ash vs. Evil Dead series and getting into that. I do want to check that out, and I am excited about it. The next one I've only seen a little bit of, and that is Scream the TV series. I saw some of the first season. I watched it on Netflix. I haven't seen much of it.
I've seen the whole first season. By the time the second season came out, I've slacked behind because that's when we were all busy and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, oh, gosh.
Now,
Yes.
the first season was pretty okay. I enjoyed it. I thought the first season was decent. I didn't think it was amazing.
I love
The second season I never got a chance to see any of, and I heard for the third season they're doing a reboot of it, and they're going back to the OG mask and rebooting the whole series and doing it much different. Now, I'm very interested in that, and I hope that they do a good job with it. I'm curious to see what they actually end up doing with it. But yeah, that's Scream the TV series. The last one is one that I've also heard great things about, but I haven't seen, and that is Hannibal, which is obviously based on the Silence of the Lambs character, Dr. Lecter, Hannibal. So, very cool. All of these are great choices to pick from. Right now, I'm going to have to say that...
You better do it in the poll.
That's right. I was going to say... And it's hard for me, though. I am going to say this, though. For me right now, it's a really tough 3-way between American Horror Story, Stranger Things, and Dexter. Because Dexter, I've seen the whole thing, and it was amazing. What I've seen from Stranger Things so far is brilliant. And the first season I saw of American Horror Story was really dope, too. So those are the 3 that are my tops. As far as my actual vote, I will not be dropping that till next week. So you're going to have to tune in to next week's episode to hear what we picked for our votes in this poll of the week. That about wraps up our poll of the week, which brings us to the end of the show, which is our final chapter.
Dun, dun, dun.
So this is the wrap up of the show. We're just hitting the 2-hour mark. This has been kind of a long one, a longer one than we expected it to be on this trilogy, to be honest with you. We had a lot to go over, though, and a lot of dope films to talk about. We wanted to make sure that nothing got excluded from the show, so we went a little bit longer than expected. Not a big deal. We are going to wrap things up here. We talked about our bone-breaking news, which was Ash vs. Evil Dead, now streaming on Netflix. We went over Paramount setting its release date for Pet Sematary Remake, World War Z video game coming out in 2018, the Inside remake coming. We went over the Vital Organs discussion, which is the Feast Trilogy. We gave our Netflix best pick, which was Would You Rather from 2012. We did our Pick Your Poison between TerraVision and the video Dead. We did the body count reviews, including XX, Abator, The Midnight Meat Train, Clown, Most Likely to Die, The Windmill, and The Babadook. And we also went over our results from Episode 6, the Hostel Trilogy, where we talked about the results for that poll, and we went over the poll of the week for this week, and now bringing you to our final chapter to wrap things up. We appreciate you guys spending the time to tune in and check out our show. One more quick little tidbit before we get out of here. We did get a .com for Horror Headquarters. You can go to horrorheadquarters.com right now, and it will pull you to the Facebook page now. I am working on building a legit, fully functioning, real deal website for us, though, so keep your eyes peeled for that soon. We thank you guys for spending this time and coming in and talking horror with us. We always enjoy that. Make sure you tune in next week to episode 8, which we are not going to announce yet. I will tell you this, though. It's a franchise, and I haven't seen the newest installment in this franchise, which we will be checking out together. She's seen the original in the franchise. I've seen the original and a couple of this, actually all the sequels, except the newest one. But we will be revisiting this one. And I also bought the box set. So if you watch my show and you watch us talk about the unboxings, you might get a little glimpse of what one we're talking about. But there is a few box sets that I got of franchises, so you may not pick which one it is. Who knows? That about ends the show. We thank you once again for tuning into this episode of Horror Headquarters. This has been episode 7, our Feast Trilogy. We will catch you on the flip side next time for episode 8. Thank you for tuning into Horror Headquarters, and we are just dying to talk horror.
Boom.
Boom.